now, Pennsylvania Democratic Congresswoman Madeleine Dean. Awfully good to see you. In terms of this story, you are one of 4 Pennsylvania Democratic congresswomen that are campaigning outright for Joe Biden. What is your message to Americans as they watch our former vice president responding to this sexual assault accusation?
Thanks for having me on during this critical time for our country. In terms of supporting Joe Biden, I'm proud to support him. But let's talk about the allegations that have been brought forward by Ms. Reed. Number one, they are extremely serious allegations. And so I was wanting to hear from the vice president what he had to say about them. I think anybody who comes forward with such allegations needs to be heard and their claim investigated. Joe Biden yesterday, through statement and through the interview on your network, unequivocally denied the allegations. What he also did that I think is incredibly important is that he directed the Senate, whoever is the archivist of the records, to look for any complaint that Ms. Reed filed at that time. She says she filed a harassment complaint at the time. The records will be checked. But in the meantime, the vice president has been unequivocal that this did not happen. Your investigation and the investigation of many other talented reporters will go forward. And I don't want to get ahead of that investigation. In the meantime, I'm extremely proud to support the vice president in his run for the presidency for a simple reason: 40 years of public service. A man who has the experience, the intellect, the heart, the compassion to lead us at a time when we desperately lack that in our current president, and it is to our peril. So I'm pleased to support Joe Biden for the man that he is, for the public servant that he is, for the supporter of women that he has been.
A very strong endorsement there, not surprisingly, given the time that you're spending campaigning for him. Let's take a look at a new op-ed in the Washington Post right now in which Kathleen Parker says the hypocrisy from Democrats on the Biden allegation is stunning but not surprising. And she goes on to say, now is the time to feel sorry for Christine Blasey Ford. Her days as the face that launched 1 million sexual assault allegations are over, thanks to Tara Reade and the blinding hypocrisy of Democrats who sought to destroy Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh during his Senate confirmation hearings. And that criticism, Congresswoman, is being echoed by a number of the president's supporters on the right. What do you say to that?
I have not read Ms. Parker's op-ed, and she's a talented writer. But I don't agree that there is hypocrisy. What I do recognize is that finally we are in an era where somebody like Ms. Reed comes forward and will be heard, and her claim will be investigated. And it will be either proven or not. So I absolutely disagree. I'm a Democrat. I called for the exposure and investigation of any kind of sexual assault allegation that women come forward with. But if the facts prove it not to have been true, that will have to be the story. So I don't find the hypocrisy. Okay. Nobody here is trying to say it didn't happen because we don't want to believe it. We don't want to get ahead of this story. Let's see if the complaint is there. If there is some proof. In the meantime, the vice president has been unequivocal.
All right. Let's turn to the Keystone State, your state there, relative to the coronavirus crisis. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf announcing that 24 counties have met the criteria to be lifted from the stay-at-home order on May 8th. That's this coming Friday. The 2 counties that your district covers, not among them. So when do you think your district will be ready to open? And what about your constituents? What are they saying and what do they need right now?
I'm proud of our constituents. I'll tell you that all across this state. How people have stayed home and heeded the guidance of our governor, of our county commissioners, of the doctors and epidemiologists who tell us what we have to do. And your previous guests just talked about this. I was on the call yesterday that we have each week, a couple times a week, with the administration. The counties that are being reopened had very, very little contact with the disease in terms of the numbers that they have had, some in single digits. But where I am, what I represent is Montgomery County and Berks County, and we have had more than 400 deaths in the last 7 weeks. It is an extremely serious pocket where this disease has hit very, very hard. Philadelphia and Montgomery County have been the epicenter. We were among the earliest in this Commonwealth. So what I want to say is for people in the southeastern region here to stay put. All of your sacrifice is worthwhile. All of the sacrifice that our first responders, whether they're at our grocery store, our department store, or in our hospitals and nursing homes, must be worth something. We have to protect. And until we can do mass testing, until we can trace all of the contacts very rapidly, and until we can isolate and identify how far spread this disease is, it will continue to be deadly here in my area. I really want us to take this very, very seriously and not prematurely open.
Okay. Congresswoman Madeleine Dean, so be it. Thank you very much. Do stay safe and healthy yourself. Good to see you.